Simplifying surds. We have two rules that we need to keep in mind when we're solving questions about surds or simplifying surds. So the first rule is the square root of AB, or the square root of A times B, this is equal to the square root of A times the square root of B. The second rule is the square root of A over B, this is equal to the square root of A divided by the square root of B. So the first rule has to do with multiplication, while the second rule has to do with division. Now let's do an example. So we need to simplify square root of 12. Now square root of 12, it can be written as the square root of 4 times 3, because 4 times 3 is 12. And according to rule number 1, this rule, we can split the surd into the square root of 4 times the square root of 3, and the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 3, it can't be simplified, so it stays as is. So I write it as the square root of 3. So this is the simplified answer. Now, you may tell me that the square root of 12 is also the square root of 6 times 2, because 6 times 2 is 12. And this can be written as the square root of 6 times the square root of 2. However, I can't use 6 times 2 because the square root of 6, it can't be simplified, and the same goes for the square root of 2. So always choose the numbers that can be simplified. Now for the second one, it's the square root of 20 over 2, and again, the square root of 20 can be written as 4 times 5 over 2. And the square root of 4 times 5, the whole surd can be, I can split it into the square root of 4 times the square root of 5 divided by 2. The square root of 4 is 2, so 2 times the square root of 5 over 2. The 2 cancels out with the 2, so the final answer is the square root of 5. Now again, you may tell me that the square root of 20 can be written as 10 times 2. And this can be written as the square root of 10 times the square root of 2. However, I can't simplify the square root of 10, and I can't simplify the square root of 2. So I used 4 times 5 because I can simplify square root of 4 and it becomes 2. So again, as I said, always choose the numbers that you can simplify.